After their mother's burial, twins reveal incredible life-changing journey after being thrown out. Lily and Jake stood by the freshly turned earth, the sun dipping low on the horizon. The smell of damp soil and wilting flowers filled the air, mingling with the stinging sense of loss that clawed at their throats. They had just buried their mother, a single beacon of love and strength in their lives. Now, with no place to call home, the world felt as heavy as the tombstone that marked her spot. As the last words of the service faded, a chilling reality washed over them. Hours later, that same day, a notice was pinned ominously to their door: evicted. The ink smudged by rain, but the message was clear. Grief knotted in their stomachs, memories flooded in long laughs at the dinner table, whispered bedtime stories, and early morning pancake breakfasts. They had no family to lean on, no aunts or uncles, just each other against the cold autumn wind swirling around them. A flicker of hope ignited when their neighbors, the Scott family, offered to help. "You can come to dinner anytime," Mrs. Scott said, her hands clasped tightly as she tried to comfort them. They took her up on it more often than they wanted to admit. But their momentary relief was cut by muttered remarks and dismissive glances. "Those are the evicted twins," some whispered, careless judgment slipping from their lips, painting them with a label that twisted like a knife in their hearts. Days turned into weeks, and the twins worked odd jobs to make ends meet. The Dinoco diner welcomed them with open arms, and their teacher arranged for them to enroll back in school. The gesture felt like a hug when they needed it most, but with every kindness came the whispering winds of judgment, looming over them. "They're too poor to succeed," echoed through the halls, each word clipping their wings. One evening, at a community gathering, they overheard a group gossiping. "The twins think they can make it big, but their mom? She was always a mess." Jake clenched his fists, Lily felt hot tears prick her eyes. How could anyone reduce them to their mother's struggles? They were more than just a label, they were twins fighting for their dreams. Just then, Jake had a revelation. He discovered he could code. It was like stepping into his mother's world, every bit of knowledge she had instilled in him bubbling to the surface. He began combining ideas with Lily's talent for writing, forming a tight duo of creativity that lit up their future. They decided to launch an online venture, pouring their hearts into every line of code and story. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. They worked late into the night, battling exhaustion with cups of coffee and dreams of the future. But just as they seemed to hit their stride, an unopened box of keepsakes surfaced, shrouded in dust. Upon opening it, they discovered things that turned their world upside down. Secrets about their mother's past that hinted at a legacy intertwined with mystery and unexpected connections far beyond what they could imagine. Could these revelations be the key to turning their lives around? As they stared at the contents, the energy shifted in the air. Questions loomed large, the stakes higher than ever. Could they rise above the shadows that tried to define them? The weight of their mother's past and the judgment from their neighbors lingered, leaving them to wonder if they could truly redefine success in a world that seemed so intent on labeling them. Lily and Jake sat cross-legged on the worn carpet, the fading afternoon light filtering through the window, catching the dust motes suspended in the air. Their hearts raced as they sifted through the old box, uncovering faded photographs and yellowed letters. Each item whispered stories of their mother's life, pieces of her they hadn't known existed. This is her," Jake said, holding up a picture of a younger version of their mother, laughing with friends beneath the summer sun. It was a different world captured in a fleeting moment, one where she hadn't carried the burdens they remembered. Lily's fingers brushed against an old journal, its cover cracked and peeling. "Look at this," she exclaimed softly, as she opened it to a random page. Handwritten lines flowed with her mother's elegant script. The words spilled out dreams of travel, ambition, and a life full of possibilities. She must have had such hopes. Lily's voice trailed off, a mix of admiration and sorrow washing over her. Jake squinted at the next page. Listen to this. I will raise my children with strength, help them achieve what I couldn't. Every word felt like a balm on their aching hearts, but it also dug deeper into the raw pain of their loss. The realization that their mother dreamed of a better life for them filled them with renewed determination. For hours, they pored over the journal, piecing together their mother's past. Each revelation was a thread, weaving them closer together, filling the gaps of their shared grief with understanding. They stumbled upon addresses, names of people they had never heard of. Do you think we could find them? Jake asked, hope flickering in his eyes. Lily hesitated. What if they don't want to know us? The fear of rejection gnawed at her. But deep within, something whispered that this was their chance. This was more than just investigation, it was a step towards reclaiming their narrative. They weren't just labeled as evicted twins but as her children, connected to a world full of potential. In the following days, they began their search. Armed with the journal, they penned letters, contacted places their mother had mentioned, hoping to find anyone who could share a piece of her life. Each reply fueled their energy, bringing back memories of laughter and warmth that felt long forgotten. Jake immersed himself in coding by day while Lily crafted their messages. At night, they shared their findings, plotting their next moves. But even as they ventured into this endeavor, the world outside still loomed a storm ready to rain on their burgeoning hope. Whispered rumors still echoed through school, and the stares from the townsfolk never ceased. Then, just as they seemed to be on the cusp of something remarkable, a reply arrived from an old friend of their mother's, inviting them to meet. The anticipation twisted in their stomachs like a tight coil. This could be the moment they unlocked the door to their mother's past or upended everything they believed about her. Will you go? Jake asked, looking at Lily, his eyes glimmering with determination mixed with fear. Lily took a deep breath. We have to. It's time we learned the truth. As they stepped into the unknown, uncertainty wrapped around them. Would they find solace in the stories shared or face more shadows haunting their resolve? With their hands tightly joined, they stepped out into the world, ready to uncover what lay beneath the surface. Just then, a flicker of doubt crossed Jake's face. What if they don't see us as family? He questioned, his grip tightening. Lily could feel the weight of his worry. Maybe it's not about how they see us, but how we choose to embrace who we are together. With hearts racing and a journey ahead of them, they wondered, would this encounter lead to the healing they longed for, or would it set off a chain reaction of truths too powerful to handle? As they headed towards the meeting point, the air crackled with unanswered questions, each step echoing possibilities waiting to unfold. The drive felt endless. The sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows that danced across the highway. Lily and Jake sat in silence, the weight of their mission heavy in the air. The car hummed softly, but the noise didn't drown out their thoughts, it only amplified them. What do you think she'll tell us? Jake finally broke the silence, his voice tinged with a mix of hope and anxiety. Lily shrugged, staring out the window at the passing landscape. I have no idea. But I hope it explains why she left. The thought of their mother's choices lingered in her mind like an itch she couldn't scratch. Jake turned his focus back to the road ahead. What if she didn't want us? His question hung between them, painful yet necessary. Stop it. She loved us, Lily replied, feeling anger swell up at the thought. She wanted us to have a better life, didn't she? That's what the journal said. But even as she said it, a seed of doubt started to sprout in her heart. They arrived at a modest cafe nestled among the trees, an inviting place bustling with soft chatter and laughter. It felt warm and welcoming, yet somehow foreign, as they stepped inside. The smell of coffee brewed and baked goods wafted through the air, a smell so familiar yet so distant from the life they had known. A woman with kind eyes and graying hair sat at a corner table, an untouched cup of tea in front of her. She looked up as they entered, a smile spreading across her face, though her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. This was the friend. Lily? Jake? Her voice was soft, a soothing balm against the storm of their emotions. Are you Anna? Jake asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Yes. She replied, rising to embrace them, pulling them close. Your mother spoke of you all the time. It felt bittersweet, hearing someone refer to their mother with the familiarity they had missed for so long. As they sat down, the small talk melted away quickly. I know why you're here, Anna said, looking directly at them, her expression turning serious. There are things about your mother I want to share, but I must warn you, not everything is easy to hear. Jake swallowed hard, exchanging a glance with Lily. They had come this far, they couldn't back out now. One by one, Anna unfolded tales of a young woman full of life and laughter, a fire in her spirit that was slowly extinguished by the weight of fear and circumstance. Each revelation felt like a thread unraveling, pulling them deeper into a tapestry of their mother's past, threads of heartache, choices made in the name of survival, paths taken that alienated her from the very people she loved. Your mother didn't leave you because she didn't care, Anna said, her voice tremoring with emotion. She thought she was protecting you. She felt she was unworthy of being your mother. The emotional turmoil crashed over them. It was as if the ground beneath their feet had shifted. Lily could feel tears prickling in the corners of her eyes as Anna continued, syncing their mother's struggles with those of their own, echoes of the same pain they had felt all along. But what she didn't expect, Anna said, was that you would find your way back, that you would seek to understand her. She would be so proud. Jake leaned forward, urgency in his voice. What else? What else should we know? Are there more stories? More people we can connect with? Anna hesitated, her brow furrowing. Yes, but some of those connections might stir up pain that hasn't been dealt with. Are you ready for that? As they braced themselves for answers that would shape their understanding of their mother and themselves, a thought struck Lily. What about the happiness she felt too? Did she find joy anywhere? Anna gave a gentle smile, her expression softening. Yes, there was joy, but it came at a price. And it's not just about the darkness, it's about how you navigate through it. With hearts pounding and anticipation filling the air, they realized that they were on the brink of uncovering more than just a history. They were standing at the threshold of transforming not only their view of their mother but also reshaping their own future. As their eyes locked with Anna's, they couldn't help but wonder, would the truths they were about to learn serve as a bridge to healing, or would they tear apart the fragments of the lives they were desperately trying to rebuild? The air between them thickened with unspoken fears and hopes. Anna's words lingered like a haunting melody, both familiar and unsettling. What do you mean by pain that hasn't been dealt with? Jake asked, the tension rising in his voice. He twisted his hands, the grip tight as he sought control over the waves of emotions crashing within him. Anna looked thoughtful, her eyes wandering over the room as she collected her thoughts. Your mother didn't just leave behind choices, she left behind people who loved her but also hurt her. Some of them are still here, and they might hold truths that are harder to accept. Why would we want to talk to them? Lily's voice trembled with the weight of the question, the comfort of the cafe suddenly feeling like a cage. What if they only bring more hurt? They might, but it's also possible they can offer healing, comprehension of a woman you've only known in pieces. Anna's tone softened, turning almost nurturing. Your mother's story is more than her choices, it's about love, loss, and finding forgiveness. Jake shook his head, a mix of anger and despair, bubbling to the surface. She chose to leave us, how do we forgive that? Anna reached out, placing her hand gently on his. Forgiveness isn't about absolving someone of their mistakes. It's about giving yourself peace. Understanding why she left could be the key to that peace. Lily felt a heaviness settle in her chest. The thought of diving deeper made her anxious, yet there was an ember of curiosity. Then, where do we start? There's a place where she used to go, a small, secluded beach out by the coast," Anna said, her voice becoming a whisper, filled with reverence. It was her sanctuary, where she would gather her thoughts and find solace. "If you want to piece this together, that's where you might find the answers." The siblings exchanged glances, a silent conversation rippling between them. Jake nodded, resolute. "Then we go there. We'll figure this out." Lily felt a rush of both excitement and dread. What lay ahead could be a journey into shadows they weren't ready to face. Still, they had come this far, and the prospect of uncovering the truth felt necessary. "We'll need to bring what we learned today with us," she said softly, her voice steadying. "We have to be ready for anything." "Exactly." Jake agreed, his expression hardening with resolve. "We have to honor her story, good and bad. And maybe, just maybe, it will help us understand her choices." As they gathered their things, the cafe's warmth dissipated, replaced by the chill of uncertainty. With each step toward the door, Lily could feel the weight of the journey ahead pressing down on her. The sun was dipping low as they walked back to the car, painting the horizon in hues of orange and purple, a vibrant contrast to the turmoil inside them. Silence hung between them, but it was different this time, pulsating with a shared purpose. As they drove out onto the winding road toward the beach, Lily glanced at Jake, who was squinting through the windshield, his jaw set with determination. "What if we find out things we don't want to hear?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper, as if she feared the answer might bring the whole journey crashing down. "Then we face it together," he replied, meeting her gaze with a fierce intensity. "We've been searching for truth our whole lives. No way we can stop now, right?" Together they surged forward into the unknown, a battalion of two heading back to the roots of their mother's past in search of clarity. But as the waves of the ocean came into view, a thought glimmered at the edge of consciousness. Would the truths they unearthed greet them with understanding or scatter them further apart? The answer loomed closer with each mile they crossed. The car hummed toward the coast, and with every turn, the scent of saltwater danced through the open windows, a blend of nostalgia and urgency thick in the air. Lily's heart raced. The beach was just around the curve, yet it felt as if they were driving toward something monumental, something that could alter the very fabric of their past. As they parked, the sun melted into the horizon, casting a golden light across the sand. Together, they stepped out and stood silent for a moment, letting the waves crash against the shore and the cool breeze envelop them. The vast expanse of water stretched endlessly before them, and for a fleeting second, Lily felt a weight lift, as if all the memories were swept away with the tide. But it was brief. Reality clawed back sharply. "What now?" she asked, her voice breaking the tranquility like a pebble dropped in still water. Jake scanned the area, his eyes landing on a small wooden bench a few yards away. "We start there," he said, pointing. "It feels right." The bench seemed weathered yet sturdy, a silent witness to countless stories. As they approached, Lily noticed a few old shells scattered around, partially covered in sand. She picked one up, examining the smooth surface. It was like a small treasure, something so ordinary yet precious, and a part of her longed to cling to it as a symbol of hope. Sitting down, they faced the ocean, letting the sound of waves wash over them, soothing yet haunting. Jake broke the silence first, his voice low. "Do you think we'll find her here?" "I think we might find pieces of her," Lily replied, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "Maybe the parts she couldn't share." Jake nodded, his frustration palpable. "It's hard to believe she had a life beyond us, a life that didn't include our family. I just wish I could understand why she chose to walk away." Suddenly, a flock of seagulls swooped down, cawing loudly as they skimmed the surface of the water. Lily felt a flicker of something, a connection to the wildness of the moment. Maybe she didn't choose to leave us entirely. Perhaps she was searching for something she lost, something we could never give her. Her words hung in the salty air, and with them came an echo of understanding. It struck her that perhaps it wasn't just about their mother, it was also about their own journey and the shadows that lingered in their family. She turned to Jake, who seemed lost in thought. "What if we look for those who knew her?" Talk to people who might help fill in those blanks. What if they don't want to? What if they have their own hurt? His voice trembled with a mixture of anger and fear. Then we listen. We have to find a way to walk through this together, no matter how hard it is. Together. He echoed the word, and Lily could see the flicker of determination in his eyes, overshadowed by the uncertainty. With a newfound resolve, they stood, brushing sand from their jeans as a wave crashed near their feet, splashing them lightly. It felt almost like a sign, a nudge to embrace whatever was coming next. "Let us find a way to reach out," said Lily, her voice steady. "Your mom had her fears, and we have ours, but maybe it's time we face them." As they walked back toward the car, a glimmer of hope began to surface amidst the lingering pain. They both took a deep breath, allowing the salt air to fill their lungs, but the question loomed: who were they about to face, and would they be ready for the truth? Just as they reached the car, Jake hesitated. "What if we end up regretting what we discover?" "Maybe," Lily replied, her heart pounding softly in her chest. "But we won't know until we try." A silence settled again, thick but tinged with determination, and together they drove away from the beach, ready to unearth secrets long buried. But as the road stretched out before them, one thought was clear: the path they were about to tread could change everything, not only about their mother but about themselves. What awaited them at the end? Would it be healing or chaos? The answers loomed just ahead, and with each mile, the past felt closer, breathing at their backs. The early evening sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the winding road as Lily drove. The car's tires crunched against the gravel, and a nervous energy filled the air. Jake sat in silence, his hands fidgeting with the frayed hem of his shirt. They both understood the gravity of what lay ahead, but no matter how many times they rehearsed it in their minds, nothing could prepare them for the reality of facing their mother's past and their own tangled feelings about it. "Do you have the list?" she asked, breaking the heavy silence. Jake pulled out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket, his eyes glancing over the names again. "Yeah, the first stop is Mrs. Thompson. She used to be Mom's closest friend. Maybe she has some answers." Lily nodded, trying to dispel the flutter of nerves in her stomach. Mrs. Thompson had been like a second mother to them, always ready with cookies and a warm smile when their own mother seemed distant. Yet, they hadn't spoken to her in years, and the thought filled Lily with unease. As they approached the small house adorned with sunflowers by the porch, a wave of bittersweet memories washed over her. This was where they spent countless afternoons, vibrant laughter echoing off the walls. Turning to Jake, she caught a glimpse of his apprehension. "Are you ready?" "Not really," he replied, but his voice carried a determination that pushed through his fear. They stepped up to the door, and Lily knocked softly. The sound echoed in the stillness, amplifying their tension. Moments later, the door creaked open. "Lily? Jake?" Mrs. Thompson's eyes widened in disbelief. "Hi, Mrs. Thompson," Lily replied, forcing a smile. "Can we come in?" "Of course. It's been too long." She ushered them inside, her warmth wrapping around them like a cozy blanket. Yet, as they settled in the familiar living room, the memories clashed with the uncomfortable reality of their mission. "Do you, know where Mom went after she left?" Jake's voice trembled slightly as he steadied himself. The smile faded from Mrs. Thompson's face. That's a tough question." Lily's pulse raced, the mix of anticipation and dread thick in the room. "Please, we need to know. Your mother had her reasons. We all just assumed she would come back someday." Mrs. Thompson's voice cracked, and she lowered her gaze, her fingers ringing together tightly. "What are we missing?" Jake leaned forward, urgency creeping into his tone. "You must know something." Mrs. Thompson sighed deeply, her eyes growing misty. "She loved you both, more than anything. But there were things from her past haunting her. She felt trapped, in her own skin." Lily felt a lump in her throat. They had always justified their mother's absence as a choice, but it now seemed far more complicated. What did she have to face? I can't. I don't want to invade her privacy. But there were secrets, burdens she carried alone. Your mother was strong, but even the strongest have breaking points, she murmured, her expression lost in reflection. Jake's frustration reached a boiling point. But we're her kids. We deserve to understand. She left because of us, didn't she? Mrs. Thompson took a moment before answering, her voice barely above a whisper. Sometimes love isn't enough. Sometimes people leave to protect what they love. Lily felt the world tilt slightly, the weight of those words sinking deep. The thought of their mother leaving to protect them felt like a punch to the gut. Where do we even start? Jake's voice cracked as he turned toward Lily, vulnerability overtaking his anger. I think we need to find out more about her past, the people she knew before us, Lily said, her heart racing at the unfolding realization. Maybe that can help us understand. Mrs. Thompson nodded, her eyes reflecting the understanding of shared grief. There are a few others who might hold pieces too. If you're willing, I can help you. As they left Mrs. Thompson's home, a mix of hope and fear brewed in the air. The journey ahead was vast, filled with unknowns. Lily's heart swelled with the urge to dig deeper, to unearth whatever lay buried in the shadows of their mother's past, yet deep down, another question tugged at her mind: was uncovering the truth what they truly wanted? Or could some secrets better stay hidden? As the stars began to twinkle in the dusk sky, casting their light on their uncertain path, one thing was clear: the journey was just beginning, and its end might hold answers they weren't quite prepared for. Just ahead on the horizon, another name loomed large: a friend of their mother's past, a name scribbled in the mist of memories. Would reaching out lead them to solace or more turmoil? As Lily and Jake drove away from Mrs. Thompson's house, the tension in the car was palpable. The weight of their mother's memories hung heavy in the air, the headlights illuminating the road ahead like destiny eager to be revealed. Jake fiddled with the radio's knobs, trying to grasp at anything that could break the silence. Next stop is Mr. Harris, he finally said, his voice steadying. He was like a mentor to her. Lily nodded, her thoughts swirling. It felt surreal, this hunt for information. Each name on the list felt like stepping stones into a river of their mother's past, yet the waters were murky, and she couldn't shake the fear of what they might uncover. Do you remember when we found that old photo album? Jake asked suddenly, his eyes fixed on the road. The one with all those crazy moments from her life before us? Lily chuckled softly. Yeah, she looked so different. Carefree, maybe. Like she had a life we never even knew about. His expression grew serious. What if we find out she didn't want to be a mom? Or that everything we thought we knew was based on a lie? A chill ran down her spine. But how can we not dig deeper? We owe it to her. The rest of the drive passed in silence, lost in thoughts that ranged from hope to fear. Every mile brought them closer to Mr. Harris, yet also closer to potentially shattering the illusions they held about their mother. When they finally arrived at his small house, worn but welcoming, Jake took a deep breath before knocking. The sound echoed across the neighborhood like a bell tolling, signaling the start of something inevitable. The door opened cautiously, revealing a frail man with graying hair and weary eyes. Lily? Jake? He squinted, peering into the fading light. Mr. Harris, Lily said softly. Can we talk? Of course. Please, come in, he gestured them inside. The room was warm, filled with the scent of old books mingling with fresh coffee. Yet, it felt burdened with unspoken words. They sat awkwardly on a worn couch, memories from childhood flashing through Lily's mind. A man who had always been a pillar in their young lives, especially when their mother seemed to drift away. What can I do for you? He asked, a mixture of concern and curiosity in his voice. Mr. Harris, where Jake started, but words seemed to escape him. Lily caught his eye, urging him to continue. We're trying to understand more about Mom. Why she left, what she was going through, Lily said, her voice trembling slightly. Mr. Harris's expression grew serious. Your mother was remarkable, but she carried a heavy heart. There were days when she felt utterly alone, overwhelmed by her past. Why didn't she talk to us? Jake couldn't contain himself. Why didn't she just tell us? Sometimes, in love, we think we are protecting others by shielding them from our own demons, Mr. Harris replied, his gaze intense, piercing through their defenses. Your mother feared that sharing her burdens might shake the very foundation of your lives. What do we have to do to understand? Lily's heart raced. This was getting close to the truth, but the truth felt weighed down by sorrow. Mr. Harris sighed, leaning back. There are choices she made, stories she never shared. If you want to fully grasp her reasons, you need to visit her sister, Marie. She's the key to understanding your mother's heart. Lily exchanged a look with Jake. This was new territory, an aunt they had never met. What could she reveal that hadn't been touched by Mrs. Thompson or Mr. Harris? Where can we find her? Jake's voice was steady now, but Lily could see the tension in his jaw. She's moved out of state, but I have her contact information, Mr. Harris said, scribbling on a piece of paper. But are you really ready for this? Some truths can cut deeper than you expect. Lily felt a knot form in her stomach. Could they handle what was to come? As they left, the night air felt electric, filled with anticipation and dread. They were on the brink of a revelation that could change everything about who they thought their mother was. Before slipping into the car, Jake turned to her, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. What if she didn't love us enough to stay? There was a heavy pause. What if she loved us so much, she thought leaving was the only option? With those words hanging in the air, they drove into the darkness, focused on a flickering light that represented their next step. In that moment, something felt inevitable. They were about to uncover a thread in their family's tapestry that could unravel everything they thought they knew, but would they be able to stitch it back together again? The drive to Marie's house felt endless. Jake kept glancing at the paper with the address as though hoping it would somehow offer reassurance. Lily could sense his mounting anxiety, mirroring her own. Every turn they took felt heavy with significance, like they were being drawn toward an unavoidable collision with the truth. As the landscape changed from the familiar streets of home to winding roads surrounded by sprawling fields, Lily's thoughts drifted. She could picture their mother in a different life, a life where she might have laughed more, worried less. The contrast pierced her heart as the memories of her mother's smile mixed with the weight of uncertainty. You think Aunt Marie will even want to talk to us? Jake asked, voicing the doubt that had been gnawing at Lily ever since they had left Mr. Harris's house. We have to try, she replied, trying to summon courage that felt just outside her reach. She's family. And if she has answers, we need them, even if it hurts. When they finally arrived, the small blue house sat beneath a canopy of trees, draped in shadow. It didn't look inviting. The porch creaked as they stepped up, a sound that echoed their hesitations. Lily knocked softly, her heart racing. What would they find behind this door? Moments passed like hours before a middle-aged woman opened the door. Marie had their mother's eyes, though they were clouded with years of sorrow. Can I help you? She asked, her voice cautious, a hint of recognition sparking in her gaze. Marie? Jake asked, uncertainty lacing his tone. I'm Jake, and this is my sister, Lily. We're your niece and nephew. Recognition flashed across Marie's face, quickly followed by something darker like a shadow of pain crossing an otherwise bright day. I didn't know you were looking for me, she stammered. Please, come in. The inside of the house was adorned with family pictures, but the absence of laughter was palpable. Lily felt an overwhelming sense of grief wash over her. This was their mother's sister, a person who, until now, had been a ghost in their lives. Sit, please. Marie gestured to the living room. Her hands trembled slightly as she poured them each a cup of tea. Lily could sense the walls around Marie's heart, solid and firm, but a layer of longing attempted to crack through. "Mr. Harris told us we should talk to you," Lily said, her voice steadying with determination. "We need to know about Mom, why she left, what she went through." Marie took a deep breath, her gaze dropping to her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "Your mother, she had battles you couldn't begin to understand. I thought it best to keep you safe from the past." "Safe?" Jake's voice was sharper now. "Keeping secrets isn't safety. It's just hiding." A tense silence settled, thick and uncomfortable. Lily felt the heat of tears pooling in her eyes. The weight of old wounds was palpable in the room, and she could see the regret etched on Marie's face. "Your mother loved you both so very much," Marie said finally, her voice thick. "But she was afraid her past would cloud your futures. Why didn't she just say something?" Lily pressed, frustration bubbling within her. "Because sometimes the hardest part is admitting our own weaknesses," Marie whispered. "She thought leaving you was her way of protecting you from her brokenness." Everything felt too close. Lily's heart pounded in her chest. What if the truth was even darker, something they weren't ready to confront? They had come here seeking answers, but were they prepared for the pain those answers might bring? Before she could respond, a loud knock at the door sent a jolt through the silence in the room. It was as if the sudden disruption shattered the fragile walls they were trying to build. Marie's expression turned to worry, the tension cracking more than just the moment. Clenching her fists, Lily looked from Marie to Jake. "What was that about?" "Maybe it's fate knocking to turn this whole situation upside down," Jake said, his lips turning into a half-smile even as worry flickered in his eyes, with a shared glance that said it all. They moved toward the door, hearts pounding, uncertain of the next revelation waiting for them. What if, Lily thought as they stepped forward, the life-changing truth wasn't just about their mother's past but something tied to this very moment? Before they reached the door, it swung open, revealing a figure cloaked in a dark coat, their face obscured by the shadows of the evening light. Just who or what had they invited into their tangled story? The figure at the door stood still, the dim glow from the porch light cast eerie shadows across their features. Lily's heart raced as she tried to decipher the silhouette. The air hung thick with anticipation, and Jake instinctively took a step closer to Lily, protective yet apprehensive. "Who are you?" Marie asked, her voice shaking slightly. The uncertainty in her tone only heightened the tension. Without a word, the stranger pushed back the hood of their coat, revealing a face that made Lily's breath hitch, a young woman, strikingly familiar. The resemblance was undeniable. It was as if she had just stepped out of a photograph of their mother from years ago. "Danny," the woman said softly, an echo of vulnerability lacing her voice. I'm your sister." Lily felt the room tilt. She glanced at Jake, whose jaw dropped in disbelief, and then back at Marie, whose eyes wide in shock seemed to shine with a mix of fear and hope. "What?" Lily exclaimed, a whirlwind of emotions crashing over her. "Sister? But how?" Danny took a cautious step forward, her hands trembling. "I know this is unexpected. I've known about you both for a while but didn't know how to find you. I didn't even know if I should." Her voice faltered, as if the weight of her own secrets was taking its toll. "Mom, she never spoke about me. Not after she left. Why didn't she tell us?" Jake's voice was hoarse, filled with anger and confusion. "Did she think we wouldn't want to know? That we wouldn't care?" Lily's heart ached at the pain in her brother's words. They had been piecing together the fragments of a family legacy that seemed increasingly shattered, and now another piece was dropped in their laps, a piece that could change everything. "Mom loved you both," Danny said, tears glistening in her eyes. "She told me stories. Always made me feel like I had a family, even from afar. But she chose to leave you behind," Jake shot back, frustration spilling over. "Why should we believe you're any different? Why should we trust you? A tense silence enveloped the room, heavy with doubt and whispered memories. Lily felt that ache again, the deep, beckoning wound left by their mother's choices, a wound that now seemed to have opened wide. Because I came here to find both of you, Danny said, her voice steadier now. I thought if I could meet you, maybe we could build something together. Maybe we could make sense of everything our mother couldn't. Lily's heart surged at the thought, a flicker of hope igniting within her. Could they truly find healing? Could they replace that hollow ache with something resembling family? Why now? Marie inquired, her resolve firming as she grappled with the sudden whirlwind. Why show up after all these years? What changed? Danny wiped her eyes, and for the first time, her facade softened. Because I uncovered things about our mother's past, things that threatened to tear me apart. I wanted to reach out before it was too late. But I didn't know how. Things? Lily asked, her curiosity piqued. What kind of things? Danny hesitated, shadows flickering across her face. Things that might explain why she left us and why I've been so alone. Lily's pulse quickened. What could be so dark that it drove their mother to such extremes? The potential revelations loomed like a storm waiting to break. Before anyone could process the weight of Danny's admission, the door creaked wider, pulling them into an even murkier uncertainty. Would this stranger truly bring them closer to understanding their mother's choices, or was she merely a new puzzle piece that would complicate their already tangled lives? With each heartbeat echoing in their ears, Lily felt the precariousness of this moment. The past was colliding with the present in ways they never imagined, and with it came the promise of both healing and heartache. As they stood at the threshold between past and future, the air thickened, heavy with the weight of potential truths. What shadows would be revealed, and at what cost? With a deep breath, Lily stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever came next. Let us talk, she said firmly. Feeling the surge of determination within her. The truth was calling, and they couldn't ignore it any longer. But as they settled in for what could be a transformative night, an unexpected commotion outside caught their attention. Shadows were moving in the dim light, and an urgent voice called out from the darkness, Danny. Get away from them. It's not safe. Lily's heart dropped, and her eyes widened in disbelief. What else was lurking in the shadows of their past? The moment hung thick with tension, uncertainty spiraling around them as the urgency in the voice pierced through the stillness. Danny's face paled, and for the first time, fear gripped her features. What do you mean it's not safe? She asked, turning towards the door where the insistent voice had originated. Caleb. A figure emerged from the shadows, his frame outlined in the dim porch light, urgency radiating off him like heat. The moment he stepped into view, Lily's chest tightened. He was a young man, close in age to them, with an intensity in his eyes that spoke of survival in a world far too complicated. Let me explain, but we need to get indoors now. Marie rose from her seat, her instincts kicking in as she ushered everyone back inside. The confusion morphed into a gripping unease. They all quietly filed into the small living room, each person's expression a mix of skepticism and wariness. Once the door clicked shut, Caleb wasted no time, his voice low and urgent. There are people who have been looking for Danny. They won't stop until they find her. Fear stormed through Lily's heart. Why? What do they want with her? They want to silence her, Caleb replied, eyes darting to each of them as if gauging their reactions. It's about your mother. There are secrets she kept for a reason, and now they're threatening everyone connected to her. She was part of something bigger than we realize. Danny's hands clasped tightly in front of her. Bigger than what? What do you know? Things she thought were buried. But they're not. They've resurfaced, and now they're targeting the ones who could expose them. The tension in the room escalated, and Jake's jaw squared in determination. Then we can't just sit here. We need answers about Mom, about the past. If this is what she was hiding, then we deserve to know. Caleb's brows knitted together, a flicker of admiration crossing his gaze as he regarded Jake's resolve. It's not just about your mother anymore. It's about your safety and Danny's. If her past comes to light, they'll stop at nothing to protect their secrets. The air shifted, what had begun as a quest for understanding now morphed into something much more dangerous. The weight of the day's revelations crashed down on them, a whirlwind of emotions colliding as they realized their simple search for truth was now tangled in a web of threats and danger. Then we need a plan, Lily declared, the flicker of hope in her heart rising to meet the urgency of the moment. What do we do? Caleb took a step forward, his expression now inspired by a hint of camaraderie. First, we have to gather as much information as we can. We need to find the people who were close to your mom, those who know the extent of what was hidden. If we work together, we can expose the truth before it's too late. Nervous energy crackled among them, igniting an urgency that felt almost electric. Together. Lily echoed Caleb's words, glancing at Jake and then at Danny. This is our story now. Danny nodded, fresh determination washing over her drawn features, her fear giving way to a fierce need for closure. Then let us get started. With that agreement, a plan began to form, strength woven in the shared purpose lighting the darkness that had loomed over them. It was clear they were no longer just searching for answers to their mother's choices but taking a stand for their own futures. As the night deepened, they gathered around the small living room table, voices low and urgent, piecing together a network of contacts that could help them uncover the secrets woven into their mother's past, the very secrets that could threaten their lives. Time slipped quickly away. They no longer felt the weight of fear pulling them down, rather, they felt a form of power invigorate them. The shadows of their mother's choices started to transform into a path towards healing and, perhaps, justice. The revelation of having a sister, coupled with the urgency they now faced, felt like both a burden and a blessing. The ghosts of their pasts could no longer hold them hostage. They were rising, ready to face whatever truths waited just beyond the horizon. As dawn began to break, casting warm shades of pink and orange across the sky, there was a new resolve in their hearts. They had lost their mother but gained a sister, and in uncovering the truth of her life, they would reclaim their own. This was their beginning, a transformation forged in fire, rekindling the flame of hope within them. No matter how daunting the journey ahead seemed, they knew one truth: they would write their own story. The world was waiting for them, and they would no longer fear the shadows of yesterday, ready to illuminate the path ahead. And just as they prepared to step bravely into the uncertain light of a new day, a voice echoed in their minds, their mother's gentle reminders of hope and strength. They had the love of family in their hearts. They were ready to mold their legacy, step by step. This pivotal moment beckoned to viewers as well. Support was needed. You need to subscribe now for more inspiring stories. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey with your friends. Leave a like now to help the algorithm boost these crucial narratives. Your voice matters. Comment below to share your thoughts on Lily, Jake, and their incredible journey toward transformation. Is there a lesson that touched you? This is the moment to show your support and keep these powerful stories alive.